This video has to do with the troglodytes in Africa and the world, and the ignoring of the information that is out there concerning the troglodytes and possibly where they went. So this is an old ancient map, 1154 by Al-Idrisi. And if you keep looking for the one that shows it a little more in detail, you'll see where it says troglodyte, troglode in Greek or Latin. And the man responsible for coming up with this theory of evolution was Carl Linnaeus. And in his book, The Nomenclature for Man and the Chimpanzee and the Orangutan and the Barbary Ape, these are the photos that he came up with. Not pictures. No cameras then. Pictures. A person's mind showing the troglodytes. You see that? Hairy man. Wild man. And in the book, the third one from the left isn't included, so it's an addition. But in this book, like I said, it's very funny how Mr. Linnaeus ignores the fact that the troglodytes were actually in East Africa. And he wrote them off and used the Semia peoples, you see? And under those captions that I showed you were the drawings that were made to represent man and evolution. Taxonomic system, systema nature, father of taxonomy, father of botany, first ecologist. You see, it all depends on what's in your mind, because you're trying to explain something from its origin, yet you're ignoring the facts. Linnaeus said that this was why and how the Malayan people, the Asians, developed. But was it? See, because like I said, he's ignoring the troglodyte. It is what it is, folks. We all come from humble, crazy beginnings. But he ignored the troglodyte in favor of this Semia evolution because of the wavy hair, and attributed it to the chimpanzee, the orangutan. How crazy is this? And he said the same basically in his Linnaeus and the Troglodites paper, where I found it. And I like to dig in and pull out facts, since they got the world sold on evolution, which is a crazy machination of people's minds trying to explain the origins and beginnings of man. That was not our beginning. And I'm going to show you the connection, you see, because this was an abomination. The troglodytes and their explanation, ignoring the troglodyte. Again, superfluous. So, I wanted to show you where the connection is, because they're ignoring it. They don't want you to see those maps. They don't want you to investigate. because they became the Thervingi, the At-Hanaric, and the Fritigern peoples, some of the Gothic populations. Like I said, you got to know what to put in there to get the right information out. European folklore. But was it folklore? Because these were the forest people. Forest Goths. Visigoths. Not trying to put anybody down. I'm just trying to tell the truth. The town of Wildman. A little play on the letters of the alphabet, E and N, M. So in 1537, this Pedro Gonzalez was born in Tenerife, Spain, the town of the Wildman. 1592. And in this document, it says that the accounts of wild men from the earlier medieval period are once again varied. There is the godlike wild man. I couldn't bring up the translation of this, but this is the document. And this is him and his wife, Petrus Gonzalez, the wild man. But they tell you it didn't exist, right? Yeah. One example, and a few others coming up. When they returned to the spot he had been, they had found a rich deposit of ore, and the town was founded and named in his honor. The wild man. Koenigs, what is that? Skrugsja? Norwegian text. The wild man. Wood carvings of the wild man. You find it in Europe today. I'm sure they'll start taking them down. They don't want to have that connection, but it's true. Wistful, Woodswolves, genealogy of the royal houses of Spain and Portugal. Wild men. Woodwolves, holding the arms of England. Biblica Historia. Southern Netherlands. Wild man. Or wild men. And the thing of it is, they want to try and tell you you're an ape. But they omitted the information and took the other and created other species. Yeah. Like everything else. Telling you his story, his version. But I always question everything. Why? Because the truth has been told. We all came from humble, low standard beginnings. But was ours a primate? I don't think so. In my other videos, you see me saying what the peoples of West Africa said, where they came from. Aquatic beings. In Egypt, I know it's a little bit more than that. Not trying to put anyone up or tear anyone down. Just stating the facts. Why? Because it needs to be told. No one is any better than the other. The wild man, troglodyte. I'm tired of the games. It was all for conquering purposes anyway. No one is any better than the other. But if we're going to tell history, let's bring it all out. The wild man. So is evolution based on a troglodyte, wild man, woodsman, or an African peoples? I would say troglodyte. Because Linnaeus, even though he wasn't a evolutionist, but here's the ones that he was associated with. That's the 18th century Enlightenment period. And this is when all this stuff, including Charles Darwin, came about. Don't believe it, folks. So if you like what you see in here, please give me a like and subscribe, and I'll keep bringing it to you. The truth.